Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a fantastic day. This is going to be the video. We are going to take the Samurai around the block for a cruise. Enough of the chip chap. Let's get started. All right, we're at that point where we're going to start putting some antifreeze in the engine. We've got all our sensors, well, two sensors, oil pressure and coolant temp. Sensors are in, air lines are ran, secured to the chassis, and should be it. All right, guys, it's time to put some antifreeze in it. I know it might not sound exciting or holy cow, he's putting antifreeze in it, but this is a huge milestone. This is another step closer to getting this thing running and driving on the road. So let's get started. I'm just gonna put a little bit in it. See if we got any leaks. If I forgot to put a clamp on something, you just don't know. Yeah, there it goes. One step closer. Well, here's another milestone. Here it is. Never thought I'd see it like this. So much work that went involved in getting it to this point. So much work. It's actually pretty neat. I know it might seem stupid to some of you guys, but again, you know, it's basically a complete truck. I just got to do the wiring now. So pretty impressive to see it this far, how far it's come, and seeing where it's at now. I'm pretty happy with the whole situation. So let me get started. I got a bunch of work to do, and catch you all in a little bit. So currently we're working on the brakes. Got fluid in them. Got the master blade, and I need to work on the pedals, get my pedals right. So that's basically what we're fixing to do right now. Before I mount the brake pedal assembly, while this is naked in here, I'm going to show you what I'm doing. I needed a little extension on the brake pedal linkage, so I welded a nut. I cleaned the threads up on here. This is going to slide on here. Very nice. Went ahead and lowered my bar, my stabilizer, so I can drop my pedals in. A whole lot easier doing it that way. I'm going to work on my throttle. This is approximately how it's going to look. There is no right or wrong way to do this. This is preference 100%. How I want my pedals set up. Also, it's trial and error too. So, and what do you know? Just like that, we've got pedals, throttle, brake, and our clutch. Life is good. A few videos back, well, many videos back, I discussed how to basically take any wire harness and be able to use it in any vehicle. Well, this here is a GM wire harness, and this is going to go in the Samurai. To simplify all of this right here, I'm only concerned with power from my ignition switch and power for my fuel pump and the coil. That's it. I don't have enough time to wire the entire truck. I just want to get this in there so I can start it up from the key switch. First things, we need to mark this at 5 inches. We use our scribe. Square this up. I like it. Got a fresh haircut. Had to run to the hardware store, get some nuts and bolts. And we are back in action, baby. Woo! All right. This is how it all starts. I gotta bend my clutch lever over a little bit. It's hitting ever so slightly. If I press it this way, you can see it hits. No big deal. Just gotta bend the bar, scooch it that way. But this is where it all stems from, right here. Now, I'm gonna put the dash in, and then I could start putting wires where they need to be. Obviously, you know, your headlight wires and your key wires, all that stuff has to come in through here. Your taillight harness will get ran down the side. Your engine harness will go through. Got to start somewhere, and this is where I'm starting. So right here, the heart of it. Let's get it. One thing before we begin, I want to point out, you might say to yourself, why didn't you just buy a Suzuki Samurai harness? Well, yes, I could have, in theory, of course, but I wouldn't have used 90% of the wire. I wouldn't say 90, maybe 70% of the wires I wouldn't have used. They wouldn't have been in the right locations. So for 60 bucks, I bought that, and now all I got to do is run the wires and make the ends up. So, and that's just my theory on why I went ahead and did that. So let's begin. Whoa, long ass day. So just want to show you something right quick. This is a universal info cluster from Dakota Digital. My buddy Danny is going to make me a bezel. He works with stainless and aluminum. He does commercial kitchens. He said he's going to help me out with that, which is super awesome of him. Got my harnesses laid out. Got my cluster harness. Got my ignition harness and blinker harness. This is the rear. Then I've got the front with the fan and the tail lights and headlights, blinkers and markers and all that stuff. So it's been a long day. Made a lot of progress today. We are fixing to go to the racetrack. So I'm not even kidding you, and I'm not making this stuff up. Literally every single thing that I've had to put on this truck, I've had to once over. Not even joking with you. Every single thing, including the hood latch. I've got a hood latch here that's drying. I painted it. That's the hood latch that goes to this truck. My hood latch that I had painted, got it somewhere, I don't know where it is, but it's not for this truck, it's for the other truck, the other Samurai. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, I just can't catch a break. And I'm not looking for pity, oh boohoo me kind of stuff. I'm saying like it's taking way longer than it should have to put this stupid truck together. Anyway, that's gonna do it for today. Like I said, tomorrow is another day. I just oh, here's the other hood latch. Stupid thing. Tomorrow's another day. I'm hoping to drive this thing out of the garage either tomorrow or Monday and bring the wagon in here and start working on the wagon. That's the game plan, and I have to stick to it. Till tomorrow, man. Have a good day. All right, so here's where it all starts to come together. I've got my harness split up. I'm gonna show you that right now. So currently, we got to divide it in multiple positions. This has to get ran inside the truck right here. This is oil and coolant for the Dakota Digital. Then this ground I'm gonna bond to the firewall right here. But this is my headlights along with left turn signal and marker light. Then we've got ignition, power, tack. Then we come over here. This is kind of the main engine harness. This is your positives from your alternator to power the breaker, the fuse panel, the starter, along with the fan, and I think there's one other thing in there too. These are not being used because we're not using electronic coolant and oil gauges. Got a horn and our parking lights for the right side. Is what it is, you know. I don't have any other options, so we're gonna make it work. Only thing I'm missing is the ends, male and female connectors, you know, 3-pin, 4-pin, 6-pin connectors. I'm gonna need to order those again later, but all I'm focused on is getting my key switch to work to start the truck up. I'm gonna tuck the harness up underneath the truck. I just wanna get this thing running out of the garage so I can get the wagon in here and get that started. So in theory, once I've got all these wires connected, I've got one more thing very important I have to do. We need to create a bond from the chassis to the body. Extremely important. Super, super important. Actually in multiple spots. So I'm gonna do one in the front, the driver's front, and then I'm gonna do one in the passenger rear. This way the body is grounded to the chassis, which the battery is grounded to the chassis. Everything has to flow and jive with one another. If you fail to ground the body to the chassis, you're gonna end up with like tons and tons of, you know, problems, because what happens is the body bolts that hold the chassis, you know, the body to the chassis, it's gonna try and create a ground through there, and it's just not gonna work right. So that's another really important thing I'm gonna have to do. So I'm gonna get these wires connected, and we'll get the truck up in the air and get them body grounds connected. All right, so we got everything connected under the hood that needs to be connected for right now to start the engine. One thing I want to point out, I was reading the instructions for the harness, and these 3 leads right here are basically 12-volt power that's constant inside the truck. So one of these are going to go to the gauges, which I probably won't hook up because we want ignition switched. But these 2 here should have a fusible link installed. I don't have one right now. I'm going to add that later on, but I just wanted to point that out. So I've got to order wire loom and stuff. Obviously, I'm not going to leave it like this, but I just want to show you all what the steps are as far as wiring the truck up. It's not as difficult as it may seem. It just takes time. All right, so now what I need to do is sort through all those wires and determine which are going to be needed for my Dakota Digital brain. So I don't know if you guys have ever installed one of these, but they're actually really easy. Obviously everything is labeled right here. So whatever I have to pull out of that harness, like I said, I'm gonna go through each wire, bundle them together, and we're gonna use them to plug into here. So what happens is, this is your brain. This plugs into your info center, which is the chrome bezel thingy up there, and that's gonna display everything through the gauges. So a little bit of a time-consuming task, but it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's not rocket science. So you have a warning light. You can use your tach, which I'm going to use, my speedometer, which fortunately the sending unit that screws into the transmission worked for this transmission. So I've just got to run the lead from the tranny, which I'm not going to do right now. Again, it's super easy. Your high beam indicator, your turning indicator, left, right. It's very self-explanatory, you know, very self-explanatory. And then you're going to have your trigger buttons to change through the settings, which you'll see later. I got to drill a couple of holes, put a little, they're momentary toggles, install 2 of them, ground them out, run the leads up into here, and that lets you cycle through your info center, and it also allows you for programming your info center. So again, I'm not going to get into too much detail, but you can select 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, 8-cylinder for your tach. You can program your speedometer for miles per hour. So you start, you know, you have a mile marked out. You start with that. You know, you start and stop within a mile. You hit the button, and boom, it'll program, and it'll set your speed automatically. It's pretty neat stuff. So we're not too far away from getting this truck started from the key power, which is, again, another big milestone. It's been a long road. It has been a very long road with a lot of bumps in it, but anything in life is going to have bumps and what have you, but it's all on how you handle those bumps. Just my 2 cents. So let me get back to work. So I wanted to show you something really cool. I needed a spot to run my wire through. Let me put this down. Check this out. So I used a 1-inch hole saw, and look how it drilled through. This is 1/2-inch box tubing. Went right through it. Took me like 2 seconds. Blazed a nice clean hole right through it, and now I've got my wire neatly ran from the front of the truck to the back of the truck. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Check this out. All right, so please, and I mean please, disregard my spaghetti mess. I need to order some connectors. I've got a lot of stuff that still has to get connected, but check this out. We got 70 pounds of oil pressure. Our temp, we're gonna get that to go up. I have the fan wired on constant right now. Pretty damn cool. Oh, my son just scared me. Pretty freaking cool. Still got to tune the engine, obviously. A lot of stuff to hook up. But I'm trying to see what the deal is. We got to get the engine to heat up. I hope this little fan is freaking powerful enough, man. I really do. I'll have to figure something out if it isn't. I don't know how, I don't know what, but to figure something. All right, I'm gonna shut you off a minute. So, I don't have any air management. I've got no valves, I've got no compressors, no tanks, no nothing. Just some wide fittings together. No tail lights, no brake lights, no blinkers, no headlights. None of that stuff is working. Only thing that's working is my important essentials, which is the ignition, fuel pump, obviously, and my gauges. So we got the seats in. They're pretty tall. I took the headrests off. I think I like it better without the headrests. And I still have some issues that I've got to finish. I don't know if you noticed this, but you can see these two little dings right there. I want to put like a smiley face here or something. Yeah, that's my hood. Excuse me. That's my my bolts from my valve cover. You can see those two chrome bolts right there. Yeah, thanks to those. But I just don't have time to do it. I've got other priorities that have to get taken care of. I just cannot do it. I'm just happy to get it in the truck, start it up, and drive it around the block. So I'm gonna need to sit down with an upholsterer and have these seats redone. Obviously, they're too tall, way too tall, and I mean like super too tall. I got some makeshift shifter in here just for now because I don't know how high I want it to go or what I wanted to use. I was going to use a samurai sword, but somebody's using that already, so I'm not going to copy. I'm going to make something different. Got to finish the center console. Don't have time for that. It's finally here. We're going to take it for a ride around the block. I'm really excited. I'm really nervous. I still got to bleed the brakes. I've got front brakes. I can pump them. I'm not going fast. It's just a cruise around the block, just some video footage, just some peace of mind. That's all it is. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this video. As always, without you, these videos are not possible. That is true and accurate information. We did it, finally. So, till the next one, have a great day. See you soon.